You know, the thing is, okay, this real talk is going to be a little bit different because originally I wanted this to be a preamble, something to tell you that the next real talk is going to be really long. But this one's not going to be. This real talk is simply going to cover two topics. There are two parables specifically that I wanted to cover in the next real talk. What instead I'm going to cover them in this one. And it's the parable of the 5 wise and the 5 foolish, and the parable of the little boy learning to ration his becoming a man. And these parables have one thing in common, and this thing is oil and candles, and these things are examples. You see, in the example of the little boy who proved he was still a boy, wanting to go on a trip with his daddy, but not being able to ration his food properly. He was given a candle to keep safe, a candle to keep on lit. And as his dad left and came back, he did wind up keeping that candle lit. And a lot of people would argue over what this candle would represent. But to me personally, I feel like it's also something that has to be kept in mind. Is this next example? There is 5 wise and 5 foolish. There is a cat. They each have a. I want to say a candle, but it's not a candle. It's this thing that they are supposed to be, that they're supposed to keep full of oil. And this thing that's supposed to be full of oil, they're supposed to have it for when their bridegroom is supposed to come. And if it's not full of oil, like the 5 foolish, they will go to the wise and try to get some of their oil, which is probably the smart move, but it's also a sign that it's not really working out, because the wise will tell them to go grab some of their own, get their own from the store or whatnot. And I feel like these were both stories about preparation, but the more interesting thing in this case is maybe what would the oil represent? What would the fire represent? Would the fire represent hope in this case? Would the fire